Cool. Let's see if we can hit the multi-stream today. Looks like it. Cool. Alright. We'll let some people roll up in here, yeah? Alright, let's just let people roll up in here. Erman. Okay. Let's let people roll up on in here. $13,500. I feel like that's quite a lot. Let's see if that'll. Let's see here. Get like a message on my stream health. Is it bad? Think we're okay? Let's see. Let's let that kind of do its thing for a second. All right. Okay, I think we're okay. All right. Let's go ahead and get started. Hello, everybody. Welcome in to today's stream. Let me move my switch that's down here charging below me. Kick out an exit. Everybody keep going. Let me move this. Okay. All right, there we go. Nice hotel. Yeah, this is just Airbnb. It's a new place from last time. Last week's was booked up. I couldn't get it again. It got booked up before I could get to it. Okay, I think I'm gonna start something new as well. I'm going to I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna record my streams. I'm gonna record them, and I'm going to um, maybe chop them up after, and try to make like a stream highlight video, and maybe do that every time I stream now. If I'm not gonna do daily streams anymore, like I'm gonna do like 3 days a week or 4 days a week, um, of good solid sessions. Like I'll probably do daily streams when I get back into the flow of it and get back into like an actual place, and not like free floating out of a uh, luggage. But I will. I think we're okay. Okay, let me start recording here. Okay, I'm gonna record our streams, and I'm gonna chop up and do stream highlights and stuff for see how that goes and see how long that lasts. Okay, um, let's start it. All right, hello, welcome back in. Today is March 11th, 2026. March 11th, 2026. Back again. We're gonna be taking a jump back into our Polyworld project we've been working on. This is just kind of a for those that are new here and aren't aware of what we've been working on. Polyworld is just a kind of a data pipeline project, where we can are kind of unpackaging and computing a lot of data statistics for and kind of KPIs for bettors from Polymarket. So this, as you can see from this user right here, these are just some of his basic statistics. Now basic, I mean, according to what we have here, it's quite a lot and extensive that we've kind of implemented so far, but Nothing too crazy that is being computed at the moment, but we are going to try and get into learning more today. Appreciate you guys being here. I don't have any like goals per se for today's like what I want to build. Like I'm kind of wanting to get back into the flow of it, kind of see what um, I can learn and what kind of where it wants to kind of push me and to see where I can go next. So let's go ahead and kind of get into this. It's gonna become might be a little bit difficult to type. I am kind of this desk is kind of awkward. It's a little bit too tall, so maybe I'll use my lap here with the keyboard on it. Um, Hello, I am back and ready to learn more about databases and how to build, integrate, and interact with them inside of my own project. I am back working in Polyworld, where we are creating an extensive KPI pipeline for better. I am not sure where to really go from here. I am leaving it more up to your wisdom on next topics of learning and steps in building. Just note, I am handwriting a lot of the code for learning purposes, and want you to be primarily a teacher. That is on my shoulder. Limit code output to more pseudo type, etc. Alright, let's go ahead and get started with today's learning. I can paste my current code, but it's pretty similar from where I left off. Alright, here we go, boys. Let's get started. Gotta jump on that whisper flow kick now. What's whisper flow? Hey Zen, how's it going? Okay, here we go. Welcome back. Good mindset coming in with intent to learn rather than just get code. Let me know if I should turn up my my mic here also. Before we dive in, let's quickly orient from where we left off. You had Polybase, a class with connection, cursor, execute, close, and commit methods, and create table methods. Docker running PostgreSQL, and the user's table schema designed but not yet created in the table. The natural next step in order. Create the user's table in the database. Write an insert upsert method on Polybase. Wire it into your pipeline so after you build user returns a polyuser model, it saves it to the database. Write a select method to read users back out. learn about querying, filtering, and sorting limits. Before we write anything today, one conceptual question to warm up. Here we go. We're cooking now. When your poly user model has 40 plus fields, when you go to insert a user into the database, you need to map each field to a SQL column. What do you think is the biggest risk of writing the insert statement by hand with 40 plus fields, and how might you guard against it? Right. So, off the top of my head, I think that having so many fields can easily cause some to fall through the cracks, so to speak. When writing queries and maybe creating new instance variables to track in the SQL calls. If we update the class, then we also need to update the core respond bug in here, query, which could be annoying / easily missed. How could we guard against it? How could we guard against it? What do you guys think? What are some ways that we could guard against, having so many fields to insert into this query? Obviously you'd have to try accept, but you don't really want to do that. You wouldn't want to really update values, because they all kind of interdepend on one another. They're kind of dependent across the entire suite of statistics. So it's not like we can just cache a few and then overwrite a few if we only get a few back or something, because then it would kind of throw the timing of the different statistics off, different snapshots of different times, which wouldn't be good, and be blending them. Well, let's be honest. I'm not entirely sure, actually, of ways to safeguard this with design. That's exactly the problem to identify. You've essentially described what's called a maintenance burden, two sources of truth that can drift out of sync, where the poly user model also has a SQL insert statement. If you add a field to the model and forget the SQL, there's no error, the field just silently never gets saved. The solution is to have one source of truth. Since you already have a poly user model as a Pydantic model, you can use it to generate the SQL dynamically. Pydantic gives you the method called .model_dump, which returns all fields as a dictionary. So we can unpack the entire, basically, class as a dictionary, and then insert that dictionary object into right. Columns would be the keys, and the values would be the entries for the row under said call headings. So in Python, that would look something like this, where we have data is received by the users.model dump. We have columns is saved as data keys and values is saved as data values. And then we can use some simple Python to join together the columns with. Now here's the important question. Notice I wrote placeholders instead of just injecting the values directly. Why do you think you should never do this? Well, does this have something to do with the SQL injection flaws that could potentially happen? Right, if they were to inject certain values that maybe could be bad, and instead use placeholders like this. I believe this has to do with SQL injection. What's the right word? It's not like faults or something like that, or whatever the word is, where having the string directly inserted into the raw string query, it can cause vulnerabilities. Exactly. SQL injection, classic example. So if the username is actually, quote, backtick, semicolon, drop table users, semicolon, dash, dash, this will actually potentially drop our table out of if we insert it with the values. The database executes that as two statements and your entire users table is gone. Sidecop G2 handles this for you automatically when you use placeholders. It sanitizes the values before you touch the SQL string. Hey Jayesh, how's it going? I appreciate you being in here. I don't know, I'm trying to learn myself, dude. I'm a student myself. Appreciate you joining me. Let's learn together here. What monitor am I using? Yeah, I had to bring a monitor this time around. I didn't want to use just my laptop again. I was getting tired of it for the stream. So I packed my monitor. It's just a 27-inch Dell 165 hertz monitor. My work had like a discount through like their like rewards program or whatever. I don't know, I got it when I first joined my work, and it was just through like the corporate rewards. Like it was slightly a slight discount on it. Okay. The data so G will sanitize it for us, and it specifically uses the %s for every value regardless of type. So putting it all together with model dump, your insert method could look like this, where we have our data is extracted out with the model dump. We save columns with list converting the data.keys, and the values list converting the data.values. Does not give you them back. Does this give you them back as an object? A general? I thought this gives you back a list. Why do you have to call this on it again? And then placeholders equals a %s for every column. And then we join the placeholders together. Okay. So let's see what we can do here. Your turn. Write that insert method on Polybase. It should take a user model as a parameter and build a query dynamically from model dump. Okay, so I guess we're going to write a function here called, we need to insert into here model dump as well. Is that not in there? No. I thought. Oh no, it's it's Pydantic, I think. And which we're inheriting from base class, so I think we already get that model dump method inherently. Okay. Okay, let's see what we can do here. So let's write this function. So def insert poly user given self should take a poly user model as a parameter. Right, and then I guess what we're gonna do, I need to get better at a command goes all the way to the top. We're going to import poly user model from my caps lock key keeps getting stuck. From so we're in DB, we have to come out of DB. Models dot polyuser model, import polyuser model, and then this is what we'll do. Oop, back it up here. Look at us using these shortcuts. No mouse, boys. Polyuser model here as our type. And so then we also need to take in as a parameter. What does it just? It should take in build the clear from model dump. Okay. Okay, we're going to try what kind of error is raised? I mean, let's just go data is equal to the poly user model. Actually, well, I'm not gonna do like all that. I need like this. Oop. Polyuser model dot, we want to dump, model dump, right? Now we have data, so then we're going to say if data, so if we get the data, if not data, we'll raise the error here. Ooh. And then keep hitting this cap lock key is so annoying. I gotta get something to fix it. If not data, we're going to should we raise an error or yeah, I guess. Let's raise a value error. Where we have we'll say polybase error. Probably can write some custom errors, but for now we'll just do this. We'll just say no data. Insert failed, something like that. Okay, now we have data here. So we just need to do columns is equal to data, and then we're going to get dot keys here, which will be the stupid caps lock keys. And then this does not return list of string. Return a set like object regarding. Okay, so it does return a set. That's work. Okay. And then you can iterate over that set like object using a for. So then we can convert this. Oh my gosh. Right. Using list, and then we can copy this down, and then values. It's going to be this here. The G in biology stands for me, man. How's it going, Unc? Appreciate you for joining me. Welcome in, Jimmy. Welcome back. So we have data and values. So now the thing is we have poly. So then we can just do value, or we can say placeholders. And then what we can do is set this equal to the length of the columns. I mean, if the length of the columns list should be the same as the length of the values list. So we could just say length of values, and then we're going to do a quote of %s, however, and we're going to multiply that by the length of values, because Python, what we can do is just generate a string that many times, but we want to I'm so bad at the join method, so you want to do string quote dot join. So if you do this dot join, the iterable we're going to join is %s, like this. But then it's an iterable though, so it's not a str. This would be for all the values in a how could I generate this string? Let me think. So we need to generate a placeholder string. Which is a %s for every column. Right? Hey, Codeman Talks, how's it going? So this would just do that over and over and over again. I don't really want to do that though. Do I want to do that? And then do this? Or okay, so we definitely need to do %s. We'll do this. So we'll do a list comprehension where we have this. For in range percentage of the length of the values, right? So that'll give us a percent s as many times in a list of the length of values, right? But the values is already, yeah, it's a list, okay. So then what we can do is then we have a query, right? Which is going to be equal to an f string, not a g string, chill. And so we have an execute here, which we can call. Okay, because we already established all this stuff last time, so we don't need to do any open or closing, because that happens automatically with these embedded methods. So if we do here, we would do, we're just writing out the query string. So insert into, we would have users is our table, right? This is where we do the columns. So we need to do a thing here, quote dot join and we need to do comma space like that, columns, and then we have values of a dot join here on is it comma space? On the values, but that not the values though, because placeholders so then our execute has a query vars so I think that this vars is a list of all of the values and we have to pass them in. So execute needs a values here, which would be a list, which is equal to none to start. We say equal to values if values else none. I think I can do it like that. And then commit that. So then here we have a query and we would call self.execute the query values equals to the values list. That's what we're going to use to insert into placeholders. Right? Something like so. What do you guys think? So then that'll execute that. So we insert into. Now the thing is do we need to strip the end? No, because it'll just do this and stick the last one on. We won't do it at the very end. Okay. Don't worry about the upsert on conflict part. I just get the basic insert part working. Hey, thank you, Kevin, for the sub. You're awesome, dude. You're a beast. Appreciate you. Thanks, Kevin. Kevin. Okay, let's take our class here. Let's get some feedback. So again, I have it tailored to not really write code as more pseudocode, and I'm trying to write it myself, like our original, if you go back in a couple minutes to the beginning of the stream when we first started this learning session. Okay, so I have a rough insert poly user method. This is so annoying. I had to update the self.execute method to accept optional values list to overwrite the placeholders. Was this correct? Really solid work. You got the core concept exactly right. The dynamic query building from model dump is clean and correct. A few things to address. The cursor.execute signature is wrong. Sidecop G2 uses positional args, not keyword arguments. Oh. Okay, so it's just doesn't like keyword arguments here. Weird. Not sure that would matter, but the F string has nested quotes that will break in older versions of Python. That's right. So what we should do is use, we could just use single quotes. Like so. Like that. And then execute. Execute never closes the cursor. So this is a Boolean, always set to false. Oh. So then we need to set the close option equal to no, it wasn't values and it was cursor.execute and this here close equals to true. We can close here. Oh. So what it's saying is that we have a close method here, which closes the cursor, closes the connection, and sets the connection to none. Oh, so it handles that for us. That's cool. Um, let's take this and let's say I am a little confused on the close part. I get that in the close method, or I am I am closing both the cursor and the connection. I remember that connections are expensive, and we can execute many cursors on a connection. Should I keep the execute method as a single open and close like it now, or keep the connection open for more cursors or executes? The execute method currently actually gets a connection every time. If it's none. So if it's open though, it will return the open cone for a cursor to be generated. Okay, every single time. Yeah, that's right. You've already reasoned through it correctly and they confirm your thinking. You're right that connections are expensive. The ideal pattern is you open a connection once, you run many queries, and you close the connection when done. What you have now is you execute connection, execute gets connection if none. Execute only closes if closes equals to true. The connection stays open between calls. That's actually already the right behavior. The issue is that just the close method closes both the cursor and connection together. You want to separate those concerns. That's probably the best part to do it, right? So close cursor would take in a cursor. So if there's no connection, on void connection, this would just do cursor.close, and that's just that. Oh, let's actually, before I make too many changes here, let me copy this down, and then we can bring that back. Connection is not open, cannot close cursor on void connection. And then we can get rid of these two lines. Now here we can take close connection, which takes in the cursor. Say connection is not open, right? This will take in cursor.close, connection.close, self.con none, right? So let me do yeah, that's fine. So now in our execute here, close cursor, and then we have close connection, which is set to a bool that is equal to false flash, right? So we get a connection, we get a cursor, execute, if close cursor, we'll close connection, we'll close the cursor and the connection. Right? So if close cursor, no, sorry, if, not self dot, if close cursor no, not, so if close cursor self dot close I guess if close connection, which will automatically close the cursor. So I guess we can do maybe it like this. If self.connection, close connection, elif, close cursor, right? This will already kick out and won't hit this. Okay. You're given a little too much code. Try to use more words and steps. Okay, let's get some feedback on that. Okay, I did a get or a close method for both and added. So then what we need to do also really quick is we have close cursor equals to true. Right, close cursor would equal to true here, we wouldn't want to close the connection. Just close this cursor. Okay, that's what I think that's what we're missing. So let's do that instead. Okay, I did 2 close methods, and I did if elif logic on the close bool check in the execute. Separation concerns is clean. Execute never closes a cursor when close connections equals to true. You have to pass a cursor here. It needs the cursor passed to it. Right now the execute calls self.close connection without passing the cursor. Yeah, we just did it. There you go. Create table still calls self.close, which no longer exists. Okay, so we need to update that here. So this will be create table would be close cursor, and we just pass the cursor in. Right. The elif logic means if both flags are true, connection never closes. Think about whether this behavior you want. If close connection, if that's true, so for the if elif chain, I thought that why wouldn't that be right? So if close connection, we would do self.close connection on the cursor, causing the connection to be removed, removing the cursor and the connection at the same time. And we wouldn't ever hit this elif condition, I thought. I don't need like a premature return here, right? Because I thought that the elif wouldn't happen if this if takes place. You're right that the elif prevents both from running. But think about what close connection actually does. It closes the cursor and the connection. So if close connection is true, you actually want that branch to handle everything. The real bug is that execute calls the close connection Oh, I already fixed that. Oh, okay. It's just trolling me, right? Because the close connection closes both. So it's the first logic case that hits if true, and the elif close cursor does not eval because it's already closed in the function called above. Exactly. Okay, I think this is fine. Okay, I think we can get a full feedback here. Okay, I am ready for some full feedback. Um, Thanks. Ooh, that's a tough one for me to pronounce there. Let me give it my best go though. I think there's one else I missed as well. Ooh, crap. Making me sign in. Um, okay, we're good. Recent events. Ab Abdelak Ahmed, thanks so much for the sub. Appreciate you, dude. Um, Peta JC, thank you much. Thanks so much for the sub 7 minutes ago. Appreciate you. Sorry I missed that one. Thank you so much, Peta JC. All right, you guys are awesome. Bunch of beasts in here. Let's go. Um, when I test this, I would need to run a Docker instance and run the create table, then run the etc. Get user insert table. This Docker test local instance is only available in that running session, right? When I close the session, it's just like starting from scratch in development. This is where the volume in your docker compose.yaml becomes important. Without a volume, yes. Every time Docker stops, the data is gone. A fresh start. With a volume, data persists between sessions. The docker compose.yml already has this. Var library PostgreSQL data. That maps the database file to a named volume on your machine. So when you Docker compose down and Docker compose up again, all of your tables and data are still there. The only time you lose everything if you explicitly delete the volume with this. Oh, I didn't do this stuff. Whoops. Compose down. I guess that's the same thing as like stopping it. But hold on. Now, before you test, your code looks good, but there's one thing still missing. The insert poly user remember what we said earlier about duplicate addresses crashing with the primary key violation? That's right. So that's what's tough about taking breaks during study sessions is that I forget stuff in between. We got 20 people in here. If you guys are enjoying the stream, if you could leave a like, I appreciate you guys so much. And let me know if you guys are what you guys are working on. If you guys are computer science majors or students, let me know more about you. Appreciate you guys being here. Now, before you test, your code looks good. Okay, so let's go. It might take forever, but I want to go back up and look at that example of the on conflict we did. Not too far. Here. Here we go. Maybe not. I'm trolling. I'm sorry, guys. Trying to go back and find. Here we go. Okay, here we go. So insert into user address on conflict. Okay. Insert into users. Insert into users the columns and the values on a conflict for the specific column. Okay. So then we have the values here. Then we say on conflict here, right? For what? For really you just say the address here. So on conflict for the address, do an update where we set I'm wondering if we can do like, can we unpack this? Oh, hey Jimmy. Mongo or Firebase, that way they both have features, or you can also do AWS, but it's much more setup, but it'll give you a lot of confidence in setting up a real online persistent bot or whatever. Yeah, definitely gonna need to, tackle that road when we get there. It's gonna be quite the haul here. Okay, so let's get some questions here. Okay, so for the on conflict. Oh shoot, we just wasted it. Just kill the tree. Oh no. We don't want to. Want to call the excluded dot var for every var update in the object row. Can we do something? Can we do something like the join placeholders in the do update set? Don't do it for me. Coach me. Good instinct. Yes, there's a way to do this dynamically like you just did with the columns and placeholders. Think about what do update set needs. It's a list of assignments like column 1 equals to this. You already have columns as a list of all of your column names. How could you use a list comprehension to generate a list of assignments dynamically from columns? Yeah, so we could do a list comprehension, but the thing is how do you assign dynamically create a variable? The thing I'm a little tripped on is dynamic variable creation or declaration within the list comp. Think about it as just string formatting. Oh, okay. So you're actually not like you already know how to build strings with string, and you already have columns, right? Which is the available keys for each string. Okay, you do a colon, or a quote. And we would do so if we say we have a quote, and this is, we're gonna have to do, shoot. And we'll insert into this an F string, and even further nested F string, right? Or can you not actually do that? Nested F string within a nested. Maybe not. Okay, so let me think. Sorry, I'm getting a little distracted here. Someone next door coughing up a lung. Literally dying over there. You already know how to build columns and lists of strings. So we just need to create a string. Column name equal to excluded dot column name. Okay. We do column dot column for columns. Then we would do excluded dot column. So for our columns, we're going to insert into and join together the columns with the values of placeholders joined together, which are %s for every number of columns or values in our data object length. And then we're going to use a list comprehension here to actually insert. It's kind of funky. We're doing an F string, and we're doing a nested F string, so it's kind of a little bit like it's kind of hard to readish. But so this will do a list comprehension, right? And then that'll just give us a list. So then do we need to join all of those together? Yes, I think so. So then we have to do this. Dot join this iterable together. Right? And we're going to put here like that. I think it's this. Okay, I gave it a shot. Oh man. That's perfect, exactly. Oh, let's go. Including one liner that builds the entire Upsert dynamically. One thing to think about though, should you update address when there's a conflict? No. For column in columns. If column not equal to quote address. That's a good point. If column not equal to quote address in the list column. All right, cool. Hey, Humano, step up and take a shot at the Gemini embedding 2 model for multimodal vector. Yeah, speaking a different language, my guy. Jimmy says you're already doing all the work. There's no difference. Just change the lines in the database connection to the address of the online database instead of the local host. Hey, Yvonne, just nice to see someone suffering more than me. BA's web dev, BA's media web, building various sites and working on a directory in Python on VPS. I managed. Just took a 3-week break and I lost the plot completely. Yeah, I took a 4-day break and I lost the plot after like 4 days. What's the backing DB? Postgres. We're using that one right now. I think that's what you mean. I make Codex stuff, Codex do all this stuff, and then I make Copilot give suggestions to sign up the commands. Vinny says to pull out the F strings for something kind of cleaner. Yeah, it's probably better to just pull it out into multiple variables and insert them in. Okay, so now we need to test this. So we have polybase get connection. If we create table, what we're going to do is we create table users. We then need to go. We have. Okay. So then we need to create a Polyworld. Basically, it's going to be this same script here. but we will not do this. We'll build users. So we build users. This is a list of users. Then we're going to say for users in, or for user in users. We're already kind of doing that here. I guess I'll just comment this out. For user in users, we're going to call polybase dot insert polyuser for the user. Right, because build users returns back a build user object, or build users our task that we're doing async. And so if we do our model here, sorry, not our model, in our services, for our build user function, returns back a polyuser model, right? So this is a polyuser model. We're inserting that into the database. And then I guess we need to do pb dot close connection here. And then we'll end. I think that'll do it for that. So let's go back up to where we had that notes on Docker real quick. What was that? Here we go. So this is going to be Docker compose up D. Dying. Anyone know what that means? Anyone know what that means? Is the Docker daemon running? Let me look it up before we get an answer from the almighty orb. Let's try to get some manual approach. Docker daemon. It's a core background service Docker for managing all containers. Okay, so let me open up Docker on my machine, I think is what we need to open it up here. Okay, here we go. Docker desktop is now open. Engine running. Okay, so now let's try it. Yes. Let's go. Okay, so now we're connected to our container for Polyworld DB1. Now we need to run our pipeline here. Shoot. We have to do like, it's kind of annoying. I think because we're doing some imports here, we need to do like Python -m run in module mode as a module the um, db dot db test script no module named polybase. Ah, crap. Uh-oh. Let's get some help here. I'm bad at these imports and stuff. Before running, let's do ls-la. And also, okay, so let's take this. I never ran that command before. Now check each folder. What I'm looking for is whether these folders have inits. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and add those ourselves. Okay. And then a git ignore. Do we ignore the inits? I don't know. I can't remember. I guess we'll probably need one here. Potentially here. I guess potentially here. I don't know. I'm pretty bad at actually this package import stuff in Python. Like I need to do some more research and reading into this. Hopefully, maybe Fluent Python has a section on it. Rocking in this ETA of vibe coding this handwriting code is legendary. Thanks, dude. Appreciate you. Yeah, I take a little different of approach. I don't get a lot of I don't get really any personal gratification by copying the AI code. Like I really get that kind of feeling of actually doing something and like by actually typing it out. And I just like using this to help really keep my thoughts flowing, learn, fix my errors, and move quickly through my learning and keep me going as a teacher, like as like a personal teacher, like over my shoulder, basically is how I teach it. And like I would never, your professor would never give you the answer outright, but they would coach you to the point where if you didn't know anything, you need to prompt questions and to get up to the speed and whatnot. So that's kind of how I like to do it. Okay, let's see if that'll work. No. So let's do this. Right? So all of those have inits in them. So then what do I have to run to get this to recognize? In Polybase, the relative import goes up 2 levels, but dbase is only 1 level. Dbase should be... So it's just an error on my part then, I guess. In my Polybase, it should just be models.polyuserModel. because don't see, I'm really bad at the level. Like that's one of my weaknesses is um, directory module package flow. Oh. In your test script, you're importing this, but since you're running from the project root, it should be from the project root. Dot classes dot polyworld import. Attempted relative import beyond top level package. Jimmy trying to bait us. So running project root, use absolute imports everywhere. No. It's really that it? Ah, okay, so we got that the table already exists here because it does already exist. Okay, so because we have a Docker volume already. Interesting. Okay, we're learning. I didn't know about these volumes before. I'm now just learning the terminal, and all I run is -LA, and be careful where you run in it. Try to commit my whole C drive. Nice, dude. Okay. So now we're getting the duplicate error, table error. So that's fine. So if we go to our polybase, create table, we're going to do try right? Try to create this table, except for a, oh boy, duplicate table. Oh, how do we get access to that error? I don't know, how do we get access to that error? How can I catch this error? Because right now we're just importing connect, but we can't import errors dot, is it errors? Error codes. No. Is it? No. Import site copy dot errors. Or is it from? Ah, yeah. Okay, so then we can catch this duplicate table error. And we're going to, I guess, just print f and say poly base error table, and we'll go here, name is already present. It's already created, I guess. And then we can return off of this or we can put these inside of here, but I don't think, I mean, yeah, like, because we're not returning actually anything, even like a none, so probably just like that, I would assume. Okay, so let's try this one more time. Cool. So now we caught that error, table users. So let me go ahead and, oh God. Oh, it was still trying to run. Right, so we have table quote users is already created. Create table failed. We'll do create table equal to users failed, table equal to users is already created. We caught that. Okay, so so now we have build users. You create table here. This just prints and does nothing and keeps going. We'll print the user here, and we'll insert into the poly user table. Close and type. Infill SQL transaction. Current transaction is aborted. Commands ignored until end of transaction block. So printed the user, and then to insert poly user. In failed SQL transactions. Let's try this. Let's get some feedback on this little error here. Little error, big error. This error means a previous SQL command failed and left the transaction in a broken state. PostgreSQL won't accept new commands until you clear it. Two things to check. The user table probably doesn't exist yet. You need to call create table for insert poly users. When a request fails, you need a rollback. Add a rollback method. So I think it's because I already have a users table. Really? Oh, because you don't commit and close the cursor on this creation. Got you. So it actually doesn't commit. So it kind of just gets hung up there. You would think though that if the table already exists, right, at this point in time, if the table already exists, why does it get hung up here? Why can't it just insert into said table? And the insert fails too because the track is broken state. To fix this, change your create tables equal to this. So what I did was I did this. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. I caught the error from psycop, whatever, what is it? Psycho G2, Psycho PG2. But that's a problem. When duplicate table is caught, the transaction is still in a failed state. You need to roll back before the accept block exits, otherwise system cursor will still fail. Also, if not exists, is cleaner and simpler than the try except for this case. Okay, so maybe we'll change that. So let's get rid of that error. Import. Let's get rid of this. Bring this in. Come on. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that that's what it was. That's what it looked like. Okay. So create, we would say if not exists in front of this. Create table if not exists users. Right. Okay. Uh-oh. Undefined column. Column trades of relation users does not exist. Uh-oh. Oh my gosh. That's not good. Oh. Where did my test script go here? Yeah, here. Um, so we would need, oh gosh. We would have to do field, we have to type out fields for every single, oh gosh. So is there no getting around typing the fields for every instance var in the poly user class? Remember, the model dump gives you the field names dynamically, but how would you be able to declare the type? Pydantic also gives you the field types via this. Oh. The return, that returns a dictionary where keys are field names and values contain type information. Mapping Python pedantic types to SQL isn't automatic. You need to write your own mapping like this. Hmm. Hmm. So we kind of got to make a choice. Um. Okay. So that's interesting. So we need to either continue to add or create a mapping, which I'm not really keen on doing the mapping. I mean, it's probably fine, but like, I think it might be better. I think it might be better to write them out and have them in some sort of like static file that we continue to add to. Interesting. Okay, I think that's what we'll work on tomorrow. Because that's a lot of stuff we have to implement there. I don't really want to write all of them in. We'd have to do these below. We'd have to do all of these lines. Basically like 40. It'd be 40 more fields. I'm kind of feeling lazy. Do we do it, Jimmy? Do we write them in right now? Trades. Um, This is where I'm bad. We could just have AI do this for us, but yeah, that's what Jimmy said. Personally, I just have the AI do it for me, but it's good learning practice. That's exactly what I was thinking. Okay. Should we do it? I don't know. I mean, we get the idea. We know exactly what we need to do. It's just that, do we want to do it if we have the tools to, like, do we want to hand screw in the nail or hit the nail in with a shoe if we can use a hammer, right? That's kind of like the analogy that people have been using for AI. Like, should we should we pound the nail in with our foot or like use a hammer or like, whatever. Um, okay. Using the AI here to my advantage, can you please make the fields to write them all out? Okay, but let's go over this. So the trades is integer not null. Closed positions is integer not null. So anything that's just integer is not null integer, right? Optional float, so prediction win rate, is decimal, which by voiding the not null, I guess can be null. Okay. And then it's pretty much duplicated, a lot of the same process for just different names. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. We can use the AI for that. I'll break my rules for that. That seems acceptable. No, not the spammer on Twitch. Okay, let's try it here. Did it work? Oh no. Undefined column trades relation users does not exist. Trades of relation quote users does not exist. Hmm. Undefined column. Undefined column with trades. How does a field? Oh, it's because I have that table. How can I wipe my table real quick? Where's a command that we looked at? Here we go. Docker volume. Let's remove the volume. So let's do Docker compose. I always do that. Compose down. Oh, spelled it wrong. Okay. Let's do this. Let's do Docker compose up. Let's do, oop. What's going on here? Oh. dash D, data persists. Okay. And now we're going to run our script. Okay, so now we have an error within our internals here, so let me quickly try to fix that. Polybase close connection, so let's go to our polybase close connection. It's missing a cursor call on line 66 of our test script here, probably, when I close connection here. Close connection. Closes the cursor after. This does not return the cursor back. Right, so this okay, so the thing is we don't have access to the cursor here anywhere. We have a connection here. Polybase has a connection. The cursor gets executed here. And we close the connection. I'm kind of stuck on how I should. I've kind of already formatted it this way, and so I'm kind of at a little bit of a design flaw, I think. I closed the connection to the database there, but I need to pass the cursor in. The insert poly user is closing the cursor. Let's take this. Let's get some feedback. The closed connection is not getting access to the cursor via the dot insert poly user. Can I take this as well? I am getting a little design flaw in my current approach. Close connection requires a cursor at that point, but your test script, you don't have the cursor to pass in. The issue is that the closed connection shouldn't need a cursor at all. Close the connection and closing a cursor are two separate responsibilities. Think about it. Why does close connection currently close the cursor? Is that really its job? What if close connection only close connection and the cursor always closed inside of execute? So in the execute function, the cursor closes. So we'll remove this close cursor boolean. We will always close the cursor. But we will keep the connection open if the connection state wants to be closed, okay? And then we can close, we can just remove this and then try that, I think. Close connection is still missing one argument. Oh. So then we can take the cursor out, and do this. Yeah, I think so. And then, now let's try it. There it is. Okay. Okay, cool. So that worked. That worked. Okay, cool. So then, okay, I think it worked. So how can I see my table schema to see if the insert is there? Run this connection. Okay, so if we run this thing here, so that gives us direct access to like make queries within the command line here. We're gonna do okay. Nice. So there's our table. And then we're going to say, how do I get out of this? Oh, crap. Crap. Anybody know how to get out of this? Anybody know what to do? I'm stuck. I'm stuck. I am stuck. in after press Q to get back to the prompt. So bad. All I had to do was press Q. Dang it. Okay, so then we run this. Select all from users. Nice. The format's trash, but I think we got it. Your first database insert worked. That's a full row of real trading data persisted to PostgreSQL. Press Q to exit the pager, then press \Q to exit the SQL shell. Take a moment to appreciate what you built. A full async data pipeline that fetches from a live API, computes 40 plus trading statistics, and persists into a real database. Let's go! Next steps to think about: running build users with multiple addresses and inserting them all, running a select method on Polybase to read users back out, and deciding whether fields list should permanently live. That'll be a task we'll do for let's ask, why using relational though? Why using what was that? Let's ask your question here. Word for word. Oh. Right now you're not really using it relationally. You have one flat table with everything in it. A true relational database shines when you have multiple tables. Yeah, so I don't have that yet. I'm just doing it. I have just a statistics table. Cool. Nice. All right, you guys. That was a successful session. I feel good about that. So what were we able to accomplish today? Let's kind of review. So we did a lot. So in Polybase, which is our object for kind of managing our database in Polyworld. So Polyworld is kind of this data pipeline for getting Polymarket KPI statistics for bettors. So we have like a bunch of statistics that we can get via, I'll show you guys here, such as this, all these custom statistics that we've incorporated into Python via just some functions that we've written in here. And then what we're doing now is we have a really good project structure. Everything kind of is really organized and flows really nicely. And so the Polybase, interacts or is created. We get a connection. We have some of these fields, which are the fields appropriate to the, the Poly user, the model. We create a table for users. We have a Polyworld, which is our actual, our object that's running this whole entire script all together. And then we build users off of that Polyworld. And then for our users, we insert the user, and then we close the connection afterwards, and boom. And so what do we get? Is we successfully get right, it prints the user, so that's why we're still getting this print output, but it's pretty quick. Our main was never awaited. Is it await main? What does this mean? Is this because we have to await the main? Oh, yeah, it's just that. My bad. Do we take this and put it there? Is that the proper way to do it? we go. Yep. Cool. Nice. So our database is working. um, um, it's betting, not stocks. Yeah, this is for Polymarket, which is for a prediction market gambling. I don't do any of that myself, but I figure why not sell maybe potentially sell the shovels to people that want to dig holes, dig themselves into debt. We can sell the shovels, you know? um, but anyways, I think that's kind of fun. I kind of wanted to maybe create like a site for giving people these custom data statistics, and then maybe they could have like a paid feature for more searches or more niche statistics or whatever. I don't know. I could try to think of whatever we want to do. But anyways, I appreciate you guys being here and hanging out with me. Today was March 11th, 2026, where we worked on our Polyworld project, where we incorporated um, an insert method for inserting poly users into our actual database, which has all of these associated methods that kind of help out the automatic opening, closing, and getting connections. Um, we then quickly kind of formatted our file structure here to incorporate the proper init files, and then we wrote added to our test script here the actual implementation, and got it working with a working Docker container running locally. So I appreciate you guys being here and hanging out with me for today. This was a super productive session. Let's go ahead and add this up though. I didn't really commit along the way here, so it's going to be a pretty big commit. Add we added insert poly user method. We'll say polybase. Cool. Nice. Is that a pull-up bar? No, I think it's just a clothes rack. The Airbnb's got the little pull-up bar from the gym. All right, you guys. I appreciate you guys being here. I'm gonna try something a little different. I've been recording the stream. I'm gonna chop it up and do like a stream highlights video. I think after each of my streams, and because it seems like there's a lot of interest in kind of like the SQL learning and kind of watching someone use AI in like maybe a responsible learning way. So, anyways, appreciate you guys being here and joining me. I said that a lot, but honestly, it means a lot because I know your guys' time is valuable. So, I'll see you tomorrow, and thanks so much for being here. Make sure you subscribe and like it. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys. Gotta stop the recording here, though.